District
yes,
6.
District 1.
Well, welcome everybody to ITS Georgia. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're actually video conferencing in with districts 1, 3, and 6. We're going to hear a little bit about what's going on in each district, some ITS projects and things like that. Before we get started, I just want to go over a few announcements. Membership, Mr. James. Invoices we're sending out. We're still trying to hunt down a few of you, so if you know y'all haven't paid your membership yet, go ahead and do that. ITS 5C annual meeting has opened up, so in order to get the member discount for conference registration, you also need to be a member. So if you have any questions, you can come ask me or Alvin. We can help you get squared away there. Networking and social. We have an upcoming Braves game. We're actually going to do this in conjunction with Georgia ITE. It's going to be on Friday, August 17th. I think the e-blast just went out today for that, actually. So if you want to go ahead and register for that, we'll do some tailgating beforehand, and I'll go to the game. It's always a good time. It's a good event. Elections. Nominations have opened up for a few of our board positions. If you are interested in nominating someone else or yourself, go ahead and do that online. Once all the nominations are in, we'll go ahead and actually vote on those. ITS 5C Summit, I mentioned it a couple minutes ago. Instead of this year having our own state chapter meeting, we're actually having an annual meeting in conjunction with a bunch of the state chapters surrounding us. It will be in Jacksonville, Florida, October 7th through the 10th. Registration has opened up. It's in the e-blast. It's on our website. Hotel is also, there's a hotel block for the conferences. So you can go ahead and register for the conference and for the hotel. I'd go ahead and do that sooner than later before the early bird registration goes away. Our sponsor for today's meeting is Inalite. We appreciate it. Whitney Nottage is actually going to talk a little bit about that. She's in district. I don't see her. There she is. Go ahead.
Right here. Hey everybody, I'm Whitney Nottage. I'm with Inalite. I'm the Manager of Services and Support for Inalite in our Atlanta office. We're really grateful to be sponsoring the meeting today. We appreciate everybody who's been joining. This is a pretty cool event for us to sponsor with all the different locations. I'm going to keep it really short, just a couple updates of what we're doing. If you weren't already aware, we are doing the statewide signal software upgrade. We are pretty much done with all state-owned intersections, and we're moving to local agencies. So if you know local agencies who are looking to get their signal software upgraded, that is a service that's provided free by the state. Just coordinate with myself or GDOT, and we can hook you up with that. We've also recently upgraded all the ramp meters in the state to new software. We are helping with signal timings on the RITSO contracts, so we're doing some signal timings in District 4, District 3. We're really excited about that. And we've also started doing connected vehicle in the state of Georgia. So you can find our software on Peachtree Parkway 141, and the state has bought a statewide license, so we'll be doing more connected vehicle throughout the state over the year. So look forward to all of that. Hopefully it'll be coming to a signal soon near you. And I'm here if you have any questions, and to you guys as well. If you have local agencies looking to convert, coordinate with us or GDOT. That's all. Thank you for letting us sponsor. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Whitney. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the presentation today. We're going to go District 1, 3, then 6. So I'll actually kick it off to Winter, who's going to introduce the speaker for District 1.
Oh, right. Can you hear me? Hey guys. Hopefully you can hear me. I am here, Winter Corbel with Temple and Vice President. Can they not hear me? Okay. Vice President of ITS Georgia, coming in live from GDOT District 1. I want to thank everyone for making it here and also watch those who are watching. I now want to introduce our presenter, who is Mr. Ken Keena, ATM SDCC Section Manager for Gwinnett County. He and his lovely wife, Melody, have 4 kids and a grandbaby on the way. They live on a 12.5-acre farm with cows, chickens, and about 15 dairy goats. So let's all give a warm welcome to Ken Keena.
Thank you.
Welcome. Don't forget your, if you need it.
All right, like
she said, I'm Ken Kina from Gwinnett County. I just want to give you all a quick overview of the ITS projects that we have going on. So we'll jump right into it. So these are the list of the ones we have in progress, and this is where they are. And it's a list of what we have coming up, and this is where they are. And with that, you have any questions? I just didn't want to overrun. Okay, all right, we'll move on. In a little more detail, we have a few ATMS projects in progress. 4 of them are about to get notice to proceed to the contractor and start digging up their equipment submittals and all that. And so that is, the first one is Ronald Reagan Parkway, and that's going to get the full extent of that roadway from, if you're familiar with Gwinnett County, forgive me if you're not, but it goes from US 29 to State Route 124. And at each end, we're going to hit a hub cabinet. And that's not right at the end of the corridor, but we didn't want to throw in another hub cabinet, so we're reaching out to the nearest hub cabinet. And then Five Forks Trickham, which crosses there, they'll have a hub cabinet right at the middle where they meet. And that is also the full extent of Five Forks Trickham. It goes from Rockbridge Road up to Sugarloaf Parkway. And then Old Peachtree Road has some existing fiber on it, but it's a small count, so we're getting a larger count fiber and also putting ATMS devices on it, which it doesn't currently have. Currently, it's just signal communications. And then State Route 316 is from State Route 20 east to the county line. We're doing ATMS, and we also pulling in some state fiber. So they'll be ready to take it over when everything interchanges through there. We are also doing an in-house project at City of Peachtree Corners, where we'll have use demand services for our consultant and contractors and have some fun with that. And covering the whole county, we're going to convert all our network switches over to Cisco. I'll talk more about that in a minute. And then we're also doing a connected vehicle technology master plan, which is in progress. So the ATMS project components, what we do for Gwinnett County, what I consider the standard, is obviously the network infrastructure. So we have communications, it's fiber, wireless, and the switches. So the communications backbone is the main component. And then of course we install PTZ cameras, so we have eyes on the road. And then at the traffic signal cabinets, any Ethernet or any devices that aren't already Ethernet, like battery backup, conflict monitor, or video detection, we convert those devices over to Ether. So those are the basic components that we're doing in our ATMS project. Now the Cisco switch conversion, why are we doing switching all over to Cisco? Well, we want to be compatible with our IT department. We work real close with them. Even though we have our own network, it interfaces with their network. And so we get their support if we're using switches that they know something about. And also for security purposes, theoretically, they'll be able to push down their security updates and everything. And so that sounded like a good reason. And also, our existing layer 2 switches are at the end of life. If you look at the bottom picture, that is a stack of switches that have died in the field, and that's just the trend. They're dropping like flies out there. And then the way our network is laid out, we put layer 2 at the traffic signals, and then we have layer 3 switches at each end of the corridor, and then those home run. Well, those layer 3 switches, some of them aren't entirely stable, some of them aren't even layer 3 yet. We're just using a layer 2 for aggregation, and it's just not a completely stable network. It takes just a glitch for them to drop in and drop out. And so we're gonna replace all of those too. So the plan for that is to swap about 200 switches a year for the next 3 years, and that'll get us all covered. We're working close with our IT. They're doing the purchasing, we're doing the programming and deployment. And the first batch should arrive this week. We got power supplies, but no switches yet. But at least it's moving. So. And that encompasses, like I said, everywhere in the county where we got switches. our connected vehicle master plan. The intent of that is to give the county an idea of where this technology is and where we fit in with it currently. And then that leads to where we need to go to prepare for the technology that's coming, the connected vehicles that are coming. And that'll then lead into our PIB Smart Corridor project and give us direction, which would then probably set the precedence for other projects. So upcoming projects in a little more legible and slower form is the PIB Smart Corridor, which I just mentioned, and that will be the full extent of Peachtree Industrial Boulevard there on the west side of the county, from pretty much county line to county line. We'll do a ATMS project on Cruise Road, which currently is 900 megahertz radio, but it needs full ATMS. And State Route 120, we have fiber currently kind of on either end. This will be filling a gap. So we have a continuous corridor of State Route 120 communications. And Killian Hill Road, ATMS, that one, if you look at it on that south part of the county, ultimately we want to kind of have a ring of fiber around the county, and that's somewhat a key component to it. If you look at the green is our existing fiber, the green lines, and the orange is under construction, and the purple is upcoming. And so that'll connect and help connect that ring so we have a robust, redundant network. And then up at the north end of the county, State Route 13, it's kind of a spur off of the ring, but it picks up quite a few signals, and also that's getting to be a busy corridor up there with a new large church campus and a new high school, and so it's going to be good to have eyes up there. And then at the southeast part of the county, the State Route 20, again, referring back to that ring I was talking about, that'll connect that missing link, another missing link, and it'll add ATMS where we currently don't have it. And then Sugarloaf Parkway, if you notice that is a green line, because from State Route 20 to State Route 316 on the east side, and it has some fiber, but it's a small trunk. We want to increase that trunk and put cameras and make it full-fledged ATMS, because that's also an important link of the ring. And then we're going to upgrade our video wall controller in our TCC, and we want to get communications to all of our traffic signals. So anything that's not currently online, which I think are the gray icons on there, we want to make them online, communicate to them. So first, the Peachtree Industrial Boulevard Smart Corridor, just an overview. There's a few components we know we want to have in it, and that's standard ATMS. It does have fiber and some cameras, but not enough of either of those. And we want to do fire and EMS, emergency vehicle preemption. Transit signal priority is on the list. Adaptive traffic signal control is the plan, hopefully. And one of the major goals is we want something visible to the end user, the Joe public driving down the street. We want them to see some benefit, something that they can put their hands on. So we want to give them an in-vehicle, either through a phone app or whatever, information. So again, the ATMS projects in the upcoming, it's going to be the same components, but considering smart corridors and smart technology and the study we're going to do, there may be other components that we decide, all right, these are new standard for ATMS projects. So anyone got any ideas that think, hey, you didn't mention this, feel free to let me know and say, yeah, this would make sense to add it while you're doing all the fiber and cameras. So the video wall controller, we have an existing DLP, 3 screens, and it's a nice wall, and it looks good. It's in good shape, so we're going to keep the wall itself. We're just going to upgrade the controller, and we may upgrade from bulbs to LEDs, but that's a pretty expensive venture, so we're playing that by ear. And we may also, if you look at the picture above the screens, there's space. We may add a couple of LED screens for further monitoring, max view or network monitoring or whatnot. So the old controller died, and what you see in the picture is a temporary solution. It's carrying us over, but it's not full functioning. So we're in the process of creating the specifications, what exactly we want it to look like, and then we'll send out an RFP soon. So the traffic signal communications project, currently we have about 535 of our traffic signals communicating back to the TCC out of 721, which is pretty good. And that's on fiber and 900 megahertz radio and 5.8 gigahertz and cellular, so the full gamut of communications. And our goal is to have 100% communications. And then the way I have it listed is our preference on how we communicate to them. So we'll look at our outlying intersections and see what's the most reasonable and run with it from there. And of course, most of it's probably going to be cellular, because the reason they're not online is because they're way outlying. But we're also open to other options. I mean, those are the ones I know about, but there may be some other technology or other ideas out there that we can get it done. And so that's all I got.
All right, we are going to hold questions till the end. I want to thank Ken Keena, and he gets this. Let's see, where do I go to, Ken? Front? Okay.
You go to 3.
3? Yeah, District 3. So I'm going to be turning this over to District 3. Here's a Home Depot card. Thank you so much,
Thank
Ken.
you.
And District 3, and let's give him a round of applause. All right, District 3. I'm sending it to you,
Hello.
Jim Tolson.
All right, thank you. Hello, I'm Jim Tolson with Arcadis, and we are in District 3 in Thomaston, and I'm going to introduce we actually have 2 speakers today. I'm going to introduce both of them. Mr. Alton Allen, he is currently the construction inspector for ITS signal devices here in District 3. Alton holds a bachelor's degree from South Carolina State University in Health Educational Services. He also holds a master's degree from Fort Valley State University in Public Environmental Health. Mr. Allen began his professional career as a construction inspector for the Georgia Department of Transportation in 2014 and recently made a transition to the new evolving role as construction traffic ops liaison. In this position, he is responsible for facilitating the construction of signal and ITS devices for over 32 counties in District 3. Mr. Keenan Ford currently is the district construction engineer. Keenan is a graduate of South Carolina State University with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering technology and a minor in mathematics. He started his career with Georgia Department of Transportation in 1998 in the Office of Material Research as a field technician mixed design specialist. He has held positions at GDOT as construction project manager, project engineer, assistant area engineer, and his current position as a district construction engineer. He has managed and overseen numerous multi-million-dollar projects, which include I-75-475 interchange, widening of I-75 in North Bibb County, and the construction of the managed lanes in Henry County. His current role, he is overseeing over $550 million of construction projects. Please welcome Keenan Alton.
I'm gonna start. I'm Alton Allen. What we're gonna do, we're gonna go over our project that we have in the district. It's pretty much the first project in the district as far as ITMS grant metering. So we're pretty new to it. Hopefully we'll be able to get through it as time progresses. Basically, what a little description of the project is 9.8 miles of installations of ramp metering. It starts on US 80. State Route 22, it starts at the Alabama state line, and it goes to US 27, State Route 85 in Muskogee County. Actually, like I said, what we'll be doing, we'll just be installing ramp metering, radar detection, video detection throughout this project. Basically, we all know what this is. It's just a basic overview of what ramp metering is. Some of the things that we're looking forward to is the conditions of the ramps. Actually, we had the detection for loops, whether it be cut-in loops or video detection. Our biggest concern at the moment is what's the condition of those ramps. Some are asphalt, some are concrete. We don't know how long, the longevity of the actual materials there. So if we put in a loop and it only lasts for 3 years, that might be a problem. As far as video detection and the same thing. So that's one thing that we're looking at. Another, as far as the ramp metering, it is a location where we have to have coordination with railroads, and of course they're right away. So that's one thing that we have to coordinate with the contractor and the department. Another maybe a problem is the connection. How we're going to connect this particular project calls for routers to connect signal to signal. However, we might need to come over there in the plan. There's no fiber connection or anything like that, so that might cause a problem when you get into the field or everyone connected to Columbus or things like that. That might cause a problem also.
Well, what we're really talking about here is the city of Columbus has their own TCC, but their equipment is a little bit outdated. So us trying to update with this ramp monitoring may cause the city an issue on how they can look at everything and try to monitor it. Now our goal is, once we put it in, we want the city to have access to it and do any coordination they need to do with the district, state, however that needs to be handled. But we're not giving them the ability to monitor the system. So, I mean, and what we're here to do right now is just talking about the issues that we may, have in construction. Like someone said earlier, we're getting close to the construction phase right now, so we're trying to mitigate any problems that we see before we get started, not delay the project.
Right here is a list of the locations. There are actually 10 because for 4 and 5, was it 5 and 6, Bradley Park Drive, westbound ramp. Bradley Park Drive, eastbound ramp, there are actually 2 locations eastbound. So actually 10 locations at these locations. Another problem that we might see in the future is protection for these ramp meters. Guardrail comes, it stops before the ramp meter. So in the future, it might cause a problem for protection. From my understanding, there is a problem with vehicles going off the road in that area, and that's something that we could probably look at in the future. We talked about shoulders too, and the shoulders are wide enough for things like that. As far as the vehicles going off the road. Something we may encounter on any of these locations is conduit. All the conduit be bored, directional board. What I don't think was talked about was the rock they might encounter. So that might be a problem as well. And service points. On this particular project, it's about 15 service points. And of course, we don't know if utilities will be an issue where the location of these service points, they might change because they're all aerial. And we'll have to come to an agreement, I guess, with the contractor there. We might have to make some infill adjustments or some infill changes to that as a change to the service points. And last but not least, CCTV. Just basic CCTVs will have around 22 for those throughout the project. And just like anything, maintenance is required. That's pretty much we have it. And that's pretty much it.
Well, in saying all this, I mean, the district, we appreciate of the technology that we're getting because we are a growing district. Being that we have the southern part of Atlanta in our district and two other major cities, which is Columbus and Macon. Houston County is on the rise. But since we don't have that much experience in this kind of work, we're trying to make sure we mitigate every problem that we see. And we're just throwing up what we see as a problem. So in the future, when we're designing this, that we can, have a better design, or have some focus on what's going to actually happen in the field.
All right, that's it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, with that, we're going to turn it over to District 6, where Whitney is there for their present.
Thank you, Jim. This is Whitney coming live from District 6. I'm going to be introducing Michael DeSanza, who will be speaking today on the Internet of Things and what's going on in District 1 and 6 with ITS technology and stuff. Mike grew up in Boulder City, spent a couple years in Portland, Oregon when he was 19 before finding himself in Savannah, Georgia, where he met his wife, Amanda. And they had a daughter in 2013 named Artemis. So she's going to be 5 this year, or already is 5?
Yeah, she'll be 5 in October.
5 in October. That's exciting. And now he lives in Chattanooga, works for AECom. He is an operations specialist, and his expertise is on traffic signal operations, traffic signal maintenance, ITS design, ITS network planning, and he's going to be talking to you today about what's going on with Districts 1 and 6 with ITS technology. Please welcome Mike. Thank you.
Thank you, Whitney. All right. So, as Whitney said, my name is Mike DeSanza with AECom. We've been working up here in Districts 1 and 6 on the RTSO project. Be about a year in September, October or so. We're really enjoying this work. There's a lot to do and a lot to get into, and we're having a great time doing it. So what I'm going to talk about is, as you may have seen in Ken's presentation, there's a lot of IP addressable equipment that is being installed in cabinets now in order to be able to communicate and to control the intersections to get data from. So this particular cabinet that you're seeing here has a very small amount of stuff in it. Right there, there's just a 4G router, a controller, and a Bluetooth unit, which that thing's going to be coming out. But there's a lot of other stuff we'll put in there. So you'll see we've got Ethernet connected conflict monitors now. CCTVs can be housed in the cabinets, right? The equipment for them. Radar detection is going to be in there. IVID's camera, if we got them, those can be IP addressable now. There's going to be a network switch in there, and who knows, we might put toasters in these things. These things all become IP addressable in the future. And each one of these devices that we put in here is going to require a power supply, a bunch of cable, and as you can see, this cabinet right here, I mean, it's already kind of looking like a mess. It's going to just become more and more in there. So as we move forward, putting all this stuff in here, that's something that we're, when we do these installations, we're very cognizant of the amount of equipment that we're putting in these cabinets and trying to get them in a nice way so that they're easier to work on for the technicians that have to come behind us. Because keep in mind, everything that gets installed in there is going to end up getting touched by a technician at some point. Generally a local agency technician, one of our technicians, GDOT technician. Someone's going to have to get in there and try to work on this stuff. All right. So where's all this stuff getting installed at? It's going everywhere, right? As Ken said, he's trying to get all of Gwinnett County done. You can see on this map, these are just the dots pulled from GDOT's MaxView server of intersections that are connected and primarily communicating right now back to GDOT. Getting some rough numbers here. GDOT has about 6,000 to 6,500 is their rough estimate of signalized intersections that are under GDOT control. All right. If we start getting communications to all of these signals, all right, so you're looking at a minimum of a controller with an IP address. You've got a router with an IP address. So a minimum of 2 IP addressable devices in each cabinet. That's 12,000 devices that we're looking after now. So you add you add a camera there, right? You add any of those other things, conflict monitor. we're looking at a neighborhood of potentially up to 60,000 devices that we're going to have to be managing for GDOT. If we start building these ATMS platforms out and putting a lot of ITS in these cabinets, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of maintenance, and you know, what is the payoff of it? Like, where are we going with this? So one thing before we move to the next one, so if you look at this map here, this is a camera project that we did in Savannah, where we kind of designed and did the CEI of the installation of all of these cameras and some of the programming. Each one of these blue circles is a camera location along this route, which is a pretty dense camera coverage. The reason for that is this is a hurricane evacuation route. And as we have found in previous hurricanes, is you lose power, but it's not necessarily everywhere. So by having dense camera coverage along this route, we figured at least one or two of these cameras are going to maintain itself, and we'll still be able to, or whoever's working on it will still be able to monitor the corridor and actually still maintain corridor operations in the event of a major failure of the electrical system. So these things were just installed and finalized in May, and that was a good project. That was a lot of cameras and a lot of equipment out there, and I think it's going to be for a really good benefit. So why do we put all this stuff in these cabinets, right? So live monitoring, incident response. That's that's why you want cameras in there. That's what you're doing. Is you can go in there, you can watch everything on a camera. You can log into the controller. You can change stuff if you see something happening. You can make stuff happen. It's a very reactive approach, but it works very well. We can also do near real-time analysis of our traffic data, right? We're pulling data back from the cabinets now. Those things are IP addressable. We've got programs that GDOT is running that lets us analyze the data from the traffic signals as it's coming in. And it also logs all of that data so we can go back and check the historical logs and see how the systems have been performing. These are all great benefits, right? The main one is that you can do this from anywhere, right? All of these things, if you've got connectivity to the internet and you've got connectivity to GDOT's network, that's my back porch. I can sit out there with my computer, and enjoy the nice data that's out there, and do this type of work. You can do it from the front seat of your car in the field. You can pull up a camera from a remote location down there if you're doing corridor timing. And what this really is a common phrase used in the surveillance industry is a force multiplier, right? We're out here with a whole lot of equipment, but very limited staff. And we can do that because of the amount of equipment that's out there. Right? We don't need a whole team of people when we're doing a 12-signal corridor. We don't need 2 or 3 people along the corridor anymore. We can do it with 1. I can monitor a whole corridor with 3 cameras and sit on one end and watch a progression go. I can see just how my timing is. As a matter of fact, you can adjust all of that stuff on the fly and just watch your platoons change as they go. It's an amazing amount of technology that allows us to do pretty amazing things with smaller staff. All right, so along with all of this stuff that we're putting in the cabinet, the major drawback with it is that each type of device has its own, some sort of its own interface, right? So if we've got the conflict monitors in there, we're going to be using the EDI ECCOM software. That's the interface for that. Okay, that's one software we got to get. All right, we want to look at some cameras. Now we got to pull up Navigator. All right, Inlight, you want to log into the controller. Now you're going to use a web browser. MaxView. You need to get on the MaxView software. You can do that through a web browser as well, but it's a different tab. And, what else are we going to do? We've got Wavetronics out there. That thing's got its own software. So what we want to start looking into is how do we make it easier for the operators to do all of this stuff without needing 3 or 4 screens full of everything that you need to do so that you can see what you're doing, right? So, you want to be able to look at your controller. You want to be able to look at the cameras while you're looking at your controller. If you need to do incident management, you need to put something in, GDOT's Teams. Where are you going to do that at? Do you want to do it through Teams? Do you want to do it through something else? So one thing that we're working on, we've got another team working on a connected data platform for GDOT that's going to help bring some, at least starting off, bringing reporting back to make it easier for people to use the systems that are out there, as disparate as they are, and bring data back to a central place for people to get it from. And that's what I think we should all be pushing for, right? We don't want to have all these screens open. We don't want to have all these tabs open. We just need to be able to see the data that we need in one place, right? So I'm going to analyze like a 10-in-1 screwdriver, right? So right now what we've got with all these tools is we've got 30 screwdrivers laying out in our toolbox, right? Why do I need 30 screwdrivers when I can put them all in this one nice little package and get the bit that I need when I need it from that one interface, right? So one thing that we've been able to do is the Intellite controllers have the ability to interface with the EDI conflict monitors. All right, so we've got those going throughout District 6 now, where we're bringing the conflict monitor data back into the controller and accessing that data through the controller. All right, we've eliminated one interface. Right, we can pull real-time current information from it, and we can pull historical logs from that interface. The other great benefit to this for technicians in the field is they can access this data through the front screen of the controller rather than needing to bring a monitor into or a laptop into the field, loading up their monitor software and interfacing with the monitor. So this, we feel, is a great way to assist in troubleshooting in the field. The other thing that we've done is we brought in some cameras into the MaxView server that we can view live while we're doing monitoring the corridor. This is a simpler way than bringing up 3 separate tabs. We could access these same cameras through a web browser if we wanted to, but if we want to be able to see them all at once and be able to look at the corridor at the same time, this is a pretty good way to do it. So again, we're eliminating interfaces, trying to do this. All right. The other thing that MaxView has offered us is they have a built-in time-space diagram for your corridor that pulls data from the signals in real time based on the last 5. We set it to 5 cycles. You could show more than that if you wanted, or less. So that's a real-time space-time diagram. The big benefit that again, operationally, that we like out of this is, and you guys up there, you can see that at all. Anyway, right here, you can actually edit every single one of those offsets from that screen, hit download offset changes, and you've changed all your offsets at once. I think that's an amazing tool. We've been able to use it to really good effect. It's great for that fine tuning that you need to do at the end of a timing project. All right, so all of that, like I said, in my mind, what we need to be pushing for is to eliminate interfaces. And this is my dream of the future, right? Is that the signal cabinet will end up being a hub for all field devices. And I'm talking all field devices. I want to bring the controller back. I want vehicle detectors. I want to see status of every single vehicle detector in there. You know, we can detect vehicle detector failures right now through a MAX call. But what if that vehicle detector was reporting the failure directly as a failure, right? Then now we can really do quick responses to vehicle detection failure. Load switches, we can monitor status of load switches, say DC isolators, 24-volt power supplies that's in the cabinet. The conflict monitor, cabinet equipment like the fans. You know, you need to know if your fan's out in your cabinet. You know, that is important, especially here in the summertime. And also your cabinet power, your incoming power. That's all stuff that I think should be monitored, along with temperature. Now, the conflict monitor can and does monitor temperature and power. We can pull that data back, but it would be good to have that as a separate thing. So how I would recommend doing that, this is just my recommendation, but my dream is to take that signal cabinet and all the devices in that signal cabinet communicate serially inside the signal cabinet with an Ethernet connection from the cabinet, so that cabinet houses everything. All right. That signal cabinet would then go out to the signal network, to a central server, and back to the end user, however we want it. Again, that's my dream of the future. That's what I hope that we get to see sometime in our lives working here. Because again, the more stuff that we put in there, the more we're going to have to manage it, and we need to start pushing to get it easier for us to manage out there in the field, back in our offices, and really push this signal ops stuff to the future. So that is all I've got.
Thank you, Mike. And with that, we'll hand it back to Jenny at the TMC to do some closing comments.
Awesome. Well, does anybody, I think we have time for questions. If anybody has any questions for any of the speakers here or in the districts.
I have a question for District 3 and the ramp meter project. I'm just kind of curious what the, if there is a public reaction, what's this looking like as a rollout of something new for people in District 3?
We haven't had any negative public reactions. We've had multiple conversations with the city government about the project. And truthfully, I'm not sure the public actually knows what's about to happen. We're all prepared to what's being done in Atlanta right now, and that's the way that we have to explain it. You've seen it in Atlanta, and we're just doing it here to mitigate the rush hour traffic. Rush hour.
Heath, I'll add to that. Rush hour traffic is a reality along the western section of that corridor. A lot of traffic that commutes back to parts of Alabama. The metro area of Columbus is in Alabama. So there's a reality of congestion there that I think the public will realize the ramp meter is there to address and help mitigate, instead of just having a mass influx of traffic from the ramp that'll be metered, and obviously we all know how that works, but I think that will be, from a public standpoint, I think that's going to be what they see first, is the fact that this helps, if they're already on the expressway, this helps their commute because it better manages that traffic.
Were there PIOHs or anything done for it?
I'm not sure.
Any other questions? Any of the districts have any questions?
No questions in District 6.
No questions in District 1.
No questions in District 3.
And I don't think we have any questions here, so I'll go ahead and wrap it up. First of all, thank you to all the speakers. It was good to get some new faces here and hear what's going on throughout the state and not just here in Metro Atlanta. So, just a few announcements. Our next monthly meeting will be in August, on August 29th at 11:30. It's going to be back at ARC. They have a really nice venue. We're going to be hearing from the ATL. They're going to be presenting. Should be a really good topic. Like I said, the next social is the Braves game with Georgia ITE, August 17th. It's a Friday night. I think we're playing the Colorado Rockies. I might be wrong on that, but it should be a good game. Tailgate beforehand. Bring your friends, your family, whoever. Just come on out and we'll have a good time. And then ITS 5C Summit. Registration is open. Hotels and for the conference. So go ahead and register. Hope to see you in Jacksonville for that. But if there's no other questions or comments, we'll go ahead and dismiss. For everyone at the TMC, if you have not been down to the bottom, Andy has actually volunteered to give you a short tour right after this if you're interested. So I guess you can just kind of gather in the corner if you want to join in on that. So thanks again, and hope everyone has a good day.